All right guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be tearing down this 3-valve 4.6 liter Saleen supercharged engine. So let's get into today's video. All right, so in the last video where we took this thing out of the 2010 Saleen Mustang, I gave you guys a good rundown on what it was going to take to get it into my 03 Mustang. But a lot of this stuff that's actually on it is not going to be going into the next vehicle, because a lot of this stuff has to be stripped off. Like the wire harness is not going to be used from the 2010 Mustang. I'm going to be using the harness from my 03 Mustang because it can be adjusted to work with this motor, and that way it'll be much easier for tuning. It'll be much easier for everyday running and driving. A lot of the stuff that's on it now won't be on it when it goes into the next vehicle. Like the oil cooler thingamajiggy that's down here is not going to be on it. The power steering pump is not going to be on either. It's going to bolt further down onto the timing cover like a regular Mustang does, and a few other things. So obviously the supercharger is the big selling point with this 3-valve 4.6 liter, and that's exactly why we are going to be putting this engine into my 03 Mustang GT. First thing we need to do is actually strip this thing down, take the valve covers off, timing cover off, take the oil pan off. The same thing that we did with the 2-valve motor that we just put in my 03 Mustang, we got to do with this. We got to make sure the bottom end is good, make sure nothing's broken in the heads, make sure nothing is messed up with the timing, and then we can clean everything up, paint it up, seal the motor back up, and then get it ready to go in the vehicle. Alrighty, as you can see, we have all the covers off the motor. We have the oil pan off, we have the timing cover off, we have the valve covers off. I'm going to flip the motor over and give you guys a view of that. But let's look over the parts that we got off this thing. Complete wire harness, AC pump, starter, all that good stuff. I doubt I'm using any of those stuff anymore. Crank pulley, all the coolant hoses, power steering pump, and the star of the goddamn show, the supercharger and the intercooler as one unit. This intercooler here. Water goes in, I think, on this end, comes out this end, something like that. But everything here is clean as hell, and the best sign that this motor is healthy as hell is that this oil pan has not a speck of metal in it, no dirt in it. We have the heat exchanger reservoir, because the heat exchanger for the supercharger needs its own coolant system, so I'm gonna have to order a small little pump. I think it's like 150 bucks to put in line with this, and then sizable heat exchanger because I want this thing to stay cool. We have the rail, meaning the fuel rail, the upper end of the supercharger, pretty much everything. We have the coolant crossover. We have every single thing we need to do this swap. And the question of today is this motor healthy? The first sign of a motor being healthy is that there's no metal through the motor at all. And look at that oil pickup tube. Should I get it to focus? Clean. Nothing's in there. All of the timing components are absolutely beautiful, no issues there. All of the tensioners are good. All of the sprockets, everything on this is absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna flip the motor over now so you guys can see the top side of it, and I think we're gonna get our answer if this thing is pretty much in good condition to swap it into the drift stang over there. Motor is flipped over, and what you want to look for in these motors, excuse that little bit of dirt and dust, I'm gonna have to wipe that off. That came from the dirt that was on top of the motor. You want to look to see if that cam is scored in any kind of way, or if there's any metal down in here, and there's absolutely nothing in there. All of the intake runners look great. The surface for that looks great as well, and same thing on this side of the motor. If I had to make a guess, and an educated guess at that, I would say that this 3-valve motor is probably the cleanest version of a 4.6 that I've seen so far. And I don't mean the best version, I just mean that this is the cleanest 4.6 internally I've ever seen. Now, when it comes to these cam phases, we are gonna order the kit to lock this out so that these don't ever work anymore, because that's the only way for us to tune it on the 2-valve ECU. And also, people have reportedly had issues with these things failing or running bad or causing the engine to run richer, so we want to get rid of that completely and just make sure we don't have those issues in the future. All right, guys, you for yourselves have just saw the fuck is sawn a word? You guys have just seen the internals of this motor, and I want you guys' opinion. Let me know in the comments. As far as I can see, there's not a speck of metal in this entire motor. All of the guides are still together. All of the tensioners are still together. I strongly believe if I change all the gaskets on this thing and make sure that everything seats properly, wipe down everything, clean down everything, I think this motor is gonna last for a super long time. And that has me extremely excited, because this motor is expensive, that supercharger is expensive, and I don't wanna have to buy them again. When this goes in the vehicle, we're gonna run it safe. So whatever the factory boost limit is, that's what we're gonna go off of. I think it's about 5 PSI. And that should be doubling the horsepower of what is in that Mustang already. I believe that's a PI motor in there, so you might be getting 225, 230, something like that to the wheel. I'm not sure what those Mustangs make, but it's a pretty healthy PI motor. They give you ratings on those at the flywheels. I'm talking about at the wheel. This should be producing right around 400, a little above 400 to the wheels, and that should turn the drift stang into an absolute beast. Then we can start actually making some very decent videos learning how to drift with this setup. I already have the idea down pat on how to do it, but there's nothing like having a capable motor, a capable gearbox, a solid rear end, that type of stuff that allows you to really learn your craft. And this is what we're gonna do with this engine and setup. We're gonna take this factory form 2010 Saleen Mustang engine with the supercharger and put it in my 03 Mustang. So you guys don't want to miss any of the videos that are upcoming when it comes to this. Make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and always thank you guys so much for watching. Always remember, don't drift without your dreams. And if you like content like this, make sure to watch this video right here that's like floating in your face, that's like madly annoying. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.